at Sophie University, and Anthony teaches for us part-time. And he asked me to talk about my position sort of in the middle management area, being an assistant director of a language program, and the challenges faced and some of the ways to overcome those necessary challenges. I'm going to try to talk for about 20 minutes and then leave some time for question and answer. So, shall we begin? Okay, the outline basically, what is participatory management? Define and compare it. My institution, Sophie University, talked a little bit about the curriculum and the organization. How do we deal with this expansive curriculum and the number of teachers that we have? And limitations, obviously, when we're working in an institution like this, there are inherent limitations. I'll speak a little bit about that, and then the implications and conclusions. Basically, what is participatory management? A system of management whereby non-management employees influence organizational decisions. Obviously, this is taken from the business literature, but in an education institution and higher education, this is something that's been applied to certainly institutions in the West, and this is something that I try to keep in mind while I'm organizing my programs. Organizations are political systems. I think that's one of the basic premises of this theory, and that therefore political theories such as authoritarianism, communitarianism, libertarianism are appropriate frameworks to evaluate how organizations operate. So therefore, when we look at the way that a language program in a Japanese institution functions and operates, we need to think of these particular frameworks, certainly not deliberately how we do it, but perhaps from an evaluative framework, this is how it could be perceived by others, researchers as well. Of course, it incorporates the concept of workplace democracy, that everyone has a voice and that everyone's voices are heard and heeded. And one of the premises of this is that it increases productivity and efficiency. However, that has been contested. There are quite a few people in the literature who wonder if a participatory management format actually leads to greater productivity, or it can be kind of stagnating in some cases. However, both processes operate simultaneously, and that's something important. It's sort of a continuum, so to speak, that there are, and perhaps have to be, authoritarian or centralized, shall we say, that's a better word, centralized processes and decision-making that have to take place that perhaps do not include all the voices that would be involved in the institution. These are some of the advantages then of a centralized control, predictability, and accountability. When you're making decisions, or a small group of people are making decisions, it's very easy to predict the result and know what's going to happen. The disadvantages then are restriction of information. Not all information is shared with everyone, and resentment and resistance, particularly working with foreign staff and also part-time teachers. If decisions are made without their input, that these certain negative disadvantages can arise. Participatory, that's a hard one to say, isn't it? Participatory, say that 10 times. Decision making, the advantages of that then are that information is shared to everyone. Generally, in the context of institutions, we have trouble meeting with people, so most of this is on my email. But the fact that information is shared and group commitment to decisions, that changes that happen and decisions that are made are shared, and everyone has the opportunity to at least express their opinion. Disadvantages then would be reduction of individual control. As the assistant director, I have to relinquish some of my control perhaps on the processes of the department and the institution. Instability of authority. These are possible consequences, but certainly when you give up some of your authority, there is a possibility for a bit of instability there. And situational turbulence, as situations arise, while there are having more voices in the process creates a situation where there certainly can be turbulence, like hurricanes perhaps, or typhoons may be more appropriate. Anyway, this is where I work, and Richard Stroop sitting in the back. I inherited this from Richard 2 years ago and took over the assistant director position. So a lot of what I'm talking about today was put in place by Richard. So I have him to thank for that. I inherited his structure, and he's going to speak after me, and he's going to sort of piggyback on what I've said as far as where we work and what's happening. We offer instruction in English for about 5,000 students per year. We have general education courses that are offered at 5 levels. You can see this very quickly at basic level, TOEFL scores and TOEIC scores. And the elementary level, then it goes up, and it's spread over 6 levels. This is the intermediate to advanced levels. You see basically 2 tracks and also test preparation courses for students who come in at those particular levels. So English for academic purposes, which is one of Anthony's classes that he teaches. Don't embarrass me. Professional English is more of a business-related, business-focused curriculum. And of course, test preparation courses, because we all know that for study abroad purposes and also for advancement in employment in Japan, these scores are important. So we provide classes in test preparation. The advanced level, these courses are based on the trying to create an environment that they would experience. These are for higher level students, create an environment that they would experience in a U.S. institution, perhaps at an undergraduate level. Very content-based, lots of reading. And these are some of the curriculums that we have in place at the moment. Okay, we also have English for specific purposes. We have programs that are done for the economics program, a global program for business administration. We also have an engineering program that was evaluated 2 years ago. And we also teach selected courses for law and education. So generally, we work in collaboration with departments and create curriculum and courses that would be appropriate for their students, which are content heavy. Okay, how does this all happen? Well, the WC employs 50 instructors, nice round number, and of that 15 are full-time, and a lot of the full-time teachers end up in the ESP courses and work on curriculum development for specific purposes. And upper-level general WLC courses. We have 17 foreign part-time staff who work mostly in the general WLC courses, and 16 Japanese part-time staff who teach courses called A, B, and C, which are often done in Japanese. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. Okay, this is the structure that we use to sort of facilitate participatory management. In the context of the curriculum that we have and the teachers that we have, you'll see a lot of names on there. Some of them are at the conference. I thought about taking the names off, but anyway, you can see starting on the top left-hand side, English for academic purposes courses, I have a coordinator. His name is Shin. And under that, each particular course has someone who is more involved with the day-to-day operations of that curriculum. Part-time teacher has a question about textbooks or comments about certain things. They usually would go, somebody who teaches EAP would work with Frederick, and then Frederick would relay that information to Shin, and then Shin would bring up that information in what we call a coordinators meeting. And so the 5 coordinators on this chart belong to a coordinators group, of which I'm the assistant director. And all of these, we have a monthly meeting, and all of these concerns from particular teachers' issues are expressed during that meeting. So, starting on the top, you can see on the left-hand side, English for academic purposes. Under that, we have the ESP courses, which are coordinated by Malcolm. And then each department has a liaison. So that if something is coming up with engineering, the bio department, that would be Malcolm. The ISS, which is information systems, would be Shin, etc. And I'm there under the law department. And going to the middle, we have professional English, which is the other major track that we have. And you see a lot of acronyms under there. Don't worry about what those mean. Those are different acronyms for our classes. But Kelly being the coordinator, and then different courses have different contact people. So again, this is kind of a organizational structure to help us manage the size and the extent of the program. And then under that, in the middle, in the center, we have self-access. We have 2 self-access centers, one being in the A building, which is where we teach. And self-access centers are available to students for conversational practice. We also have a writing center. And self-access A, and then we also have the WLC across from that, the self-access WLC, which is coordinated by Greg. These are our different self-access centers at the institution. And then on the very top, on the right-hand side, more basic practical application, and having people help me with things like the homepage and scheduling, etc. So this is kind of how we organize and manage, hopefully in a participatory way, the size and scope and extent of the program that we operate.